Hey, what's up guys? Kellen from Movement Parallels Life here, and I'm back with some more movement goodness for you. Today is all about stretching. For this one, you're going to need a mat or just some open, comfortable floor space. You'll need a chair or a bench, and they're not necessary, but if you have a strap, a set of yoga blocks, and some rolled up towels, you might want to have those nearby. They'll help you tailor the stretches for your body. We want you to bring some strength, intention, and activation into your stretching to produce better results. On the other side of that, we also want to make sure that you can relax and breathe through the stretches. Don't push into painful ranges of motion. Don't force your body into the stretch, but hold your stretches with a moderate amount of intensity and allow your body to open up gradually. We're going to start off with about 4 minutes of mobility and dynamic stretching just to get your body warm. After that, we're going to dive into a variety of stretches, holding each for 1 to 2 minutes. I know you're going to love how you feel when we get done with this one. If you love the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with a friend. For more great content on strength, mobility, and movement, check out my training app on Playbook. All right, that's it for my intro. Now let's get to stretching.
We'll begin today with a few minutes of joint mobility work and dynamic movements. This will give you a chance to loosen up and get warm before we get into the stretches. Start off in a well-aligned upright posture and focus on some gentle movements to mobilize your neck. Gently turn, tilt, and roll your head through a full range of motion. Stabilize your head and neck and then begin rolling your shoulders. Keep these shoulder rolls relaxed and go backwards, forwards, and alternating. Stabilize your shoulders and then go into some full range of motion arm circles. Keep your pelvis level and your core strong to really focus the movement at the shoulder joint. Open up your stance to shoulder width and begin going through some thoracic rotations. Keep your feet well rooted and your core strong as you rotate through your shoulders, twisting from side to side. You can begin opening things up by extending through your spine and into a back reach. Stabilize your shoulders and move into hula hoop hip circles. Perform about 8 to 10 each direction. Walk your feet together and perform 8 to 10 knee circles each direction. And next, a few quick movements for your feet and ankles. From standing, tilt your weight from side to side, rocking to the edges of your feet. And also check out a top of the foot stretch on each side. Stabilize your body, and next we'll go through some spinal flexion and extension. From standing, round your spine and begin to wilt to the ground. Then slowly begin to pick yourself up, rolling through your spine, coming all the way back up to standing and into a light back bend. Return to standing and perform 10 diagonal swings on each side. Next, perform 20 high step overs. We'll finish up here by taking 15 to 20 seconds to shake it out, bounce, and twist. Now that our bodies are warm and loose, we can bring it down to the ground and get into our stretching. We'll lead off with our butterfly sit stretch. While sitting tall on the ground, place the soles of your feet together. Maintain deep, relaxed breathing and actively pull your knees down to the ground. Now, we're going to be here for about a minute and a half or so you can take the time to tailor this stretch by bolstering your hips with your yoga blocks or towels. You can apply gentle pressure to your knees with your hands, or you can start reaching forward or twisting. We'll move from the butterfly sit stretch into the long sit stretch. Extend your legs in an open straddle or straight out in front of you. Sit up tall and keep your spine long and pelvis tilting forward. Now, if you're feeling a lot of tension in the backs of your legs, go ahead and bolster your hips with your blocks or towels. Maintain your deep breathing and hold your shoulders back as you hinge forward from your hips to intensify the stretch. We'll be here for about a minute and a half, so explore this position by leaning forward at different angles, reaching, or rotating. Transition from long sit to half long sit by drawing in one leg, bringing your foot in towards your hips. Keep your spine long, and just like the butterfly sit, actively pull your knee down to the ground. Apply pressure from your hands and hinge forward from your hips to deepen the stretch. Switch sides on your half long sit. Come out of your half long sit, and next we'll go into side bent sit. Keep one leg bent in front of you with 90-degree angles at the hip, knee, and ankle, and have your back leg wrapped behind you. Sit tall with your spine stacked over your hips. If you feel yourself shifting to one side, use a prop underneath your front hip. Add additional strength to this position by flexing your front foot and drawing your femur back into the hip socket as if you were gripping the floor. Keep your shoulders back as you hinge forward at the hips, leaning at different angles. We'll be here on this side for about 30 more seconds, so reach and rotate to explore the different stretches. Now reverse your hips to switch your side bent sit. Begin to make your way out of your side bent sit, and we'll move on to kneeling. If you have any chronic knee pain or problems, you might give yourself some extra support here with your towels or blocks. From here, we'll be focusing on a kneeling chest stretch or a rotational reach stretch. You can try these kneeling stretches with either your feet flat or your feet flexed. As a baseline for your kneeling position, keep your shoulders back and your bottom ribs drop down. For the stretch, post your hands on the floor behind you and actively push into the ground. Push your hips upward to intensify the stretch through your chest and your biceps. We'll be here working with this stretch for the next minute and a half. That's plenty of time for you to explore a few different variations. Alternate between flat foot and flexed foot kneeling. Try interlacing your fingers and reaching down your back for a greater shoulder stretch. With your arms posted on the ground, release one and reach across your body, twisting through your shoulders, extending through your fingertips to create a deep twisting stretch through your torso. Start to come out of the kneeling chest stretch. Maybe give your knees a quick chance to breathe. We're going to stay with the kneeling position but change the focus of the stretch. So return to your comfortable baseline kneeling position with your shoulders back and bottom ribs dropped. Place one arm behind your back, but avoid rounding your upper back to do this. You can have either the back side of your hand or your palm touching your back. Draw your shoulder down, tilt your head to the opposite side, and use your free hand to apply gentle pressure to the side of your head to create the stretch. Breathe deeply and tilt your head slightly down or slightly back to change the stretch. Now release your head and bring your arm from behind your back to an overhead position. Post your arm to the side and flex laterally into a side stretch. Extend into the reach to create length down the sideline of your body. You can tailor the stretch by extending your hips forward and shifting away from the reach. Breathe deeply and maintain this stretch for 40 more seconds. Gently rotate out of the side bend and then reset your kneeling position. We're going to go back to the next stretch on the other side. Place your arm behind your back, tilt your head to the opposite side, and apply gentle pressure to create the stretch. Release your head and bring your arm from behind your back into the overhead position and into your side stretch. We'll hold for 1 minute. Gently rotate out of the side bend stretch and return to kneeling. Then step one leg forward to come into half kneeling. Set your front leg at 90 degrees with the sole of your foot rooted into the ground. Tuck your pelvis forward and press the ball of your back foot into the floor to create a stretch through the down leg. Maintain this activation as you explore the stretch. Glide forward, lift your back knee off the ground, or hold your back foot. Explore the half kneeling stretch on this side for 1 more minute. Switch sides in your half kneeling stretch. Once again, set your front leg at about 90 degrees with the sole of your foot fully rooted. Keep your pelvis tucked forward and actively press the ball of your back foot into the floor. That's time. Now transition from half kneeling into a deep squat. Space your feet apart according to what feels most natural for you. Elongate your spine. Keep your shoulders back and chest upright. Keep your feet grounded while pushing your knees out towards the sidewalls. If necessary, hold on to a fixed object or place a lift underneath your heels. You can press your palms together and use your elbows to pry your hips open. Explore different stretches by folding forward, shifting side to side, or reaching overhead. Hang out here, stretching in your deep squat for 1 more minute. From your deep squat, plant your hands on the ground and walk your feet back to come into a high hip crawl position. Keep your palms pressing into the floor with your elbows rotating inward. Gently press your chest down towards the floor to stretch your shoulders. Tilt your pelvis forward and press your heels down to focus the stretch down the backs of your legs. Shift your weight or pedal your feet to change the stretch. 2 additional variations here are lowering your hips and bringing your knees down to the floor to focus on your shoulder stretch. Or from the high hip position, reach one arm towards your opposite heel for a rotational stretch. Work with these stretches for another 75 seconds. Begin to make your way out of the high hip crawl stretch and reset yourself with some gentle spinal articulation. Next, elevate your hips and make your way up into a deep hinge stretch. Your blocks can be very useful here for giving your body additional support to get more out of your stretch. Engage your body while in this position by keeping your knees slightly bent, pelvis rotated forward, and straightening your spine. Now, this organization may seem like it reduces the range of motion, but it will create a combination of strength and stretch to produce greater overall mobility. Hold the stretch with the strength of your legs and core. Use your blocks for additional support. Stay active here. Explore different stances and foot position to tailor the stretch. Alternatively, you can relax into the position for a passive stretch through your back. Continue exploring your deep hinge variations for the next 2 minutes. Rise up to a tall, upright standing position. Use 2 towels to create a lift for your forefoot. Place one foot on the lift for a natural calf stretch. Set your other foot behind or in front. Keep your pelvis level here. You want to avoid the anterior pelvic tilt. Actively lift your foot while in the stretch and avoid excessively gripping through your quads. Be mindful of not overusing tension here. We want to create a natural lift of the foot to stretch the Achilles and calf, and also some gentle activation to promote greater range of motion at the ankle. Make your way out of the calf stretch and switch sides. Create a double calf stretch by returning to your deep hinge with one towel rolled up and placed underneath your feet. Keep your focus on maintaining the organized position with your knees slightly bent, pelvis rotated forward, and spine straight. Place your hands on the seat of a chair for additional support. Make your way out of your double calf stretch. Put your towels off to the side and grab your strap. We'll move on to a straight leg stretch. Place your heel on an elevated surface around 18 to 24 inches high. Play around with this height based off what feels best for you. Keep your back foot straight and steady your balance. Maintain a long spine with shoulders back. Engage the thigh of your lifted leg and hinge forward at your hips to intensify the stretch. Actively pull your toes back towards your face and draw your thigh bone back into the hip socket. Use your strap or even your hands to assist pulling your toes back to increase the calf stretch. Promote flexibility by flossing the stretch, creating small movements and alternating between active strength and passive relaxation. Stay with the stretch on this side for about 45 more seconds. Step down and switch sides on your straight leg stretch. Step out of the straight leg stretch and we'll transition into a lat stretch. Lower down to kneeling about an arm's length away from your chair or bench. Place your hands on top and walk them over to one side. Lower your chest down towards the ground while actively pressing down into the bench to create the stretch through your opposite lat. Pulse in and out of the stretch. Twist and rotate to find different angles. Hold the stretch on this side for 40 more seconds. Now walk your hands over to the other side and switch your lat stretch. Come out of the lat stretch and we'll transition into a frog stretch next. Lower down to the floor on your knees and forearms. Keep your spine long and pelvis tilted forward to lengthen your lower back. Push your shins out towards the side walls, spreading the floor. Gently rock forward and backwards, actively pulling back through the creases of your hips without tucking your tailbone. Next, modify the frog stretch by extending a leg straight out to the side, keeping the sole of your foot pressing down into the floor and reaching away from your body. Draw the leg in and switch sides. Make your way out of your frog stretch and into a crossover sit stretch. Start in a side bent sit position, then bring your back leg across your body, hooking your foot across your front knee. Sit tall. Flex your front foot and actively squeeze your thigh in towards your body. Use your hands to press your hip open or hug your thigh and gently pull yourself into a twist. Hold this stretch for 1 more minute. Uncross your legs and set up your crossover sit on the other side. That's time. Next, we'll transition into a prone spinal extension stretch. Starting from a prone lying position, use the strength of the back line of your body to lift into the spinal extension. Keep your chest open and shoulders externally rotated. Press through the floor with forearms or hands to support the lift. Move in and out of the stretch. Coordinate the lowering and lifting with your breathing. Lower yourself down to the floor from the spinal extension, and we'll move on to a prone chest stretch. Set one arm out at your side at a 90-degree angle, keeping your shoulder drawn down and externally rotated. Step your opposite leg across your body and press your forearm into the ground to create the stretch through your chest. Hold and breathe, or roll in and out of the position. Use your support arm to press yourself up to deepen the stretch. Roll out of the chest stretch and return to your prone lying position, and we'll go into a shoulder capsule stretch. Bring your arms straight across your body. Press your palm down into the floor. Draw your shoulder down and away from your ear. Roll into the arm to create a stretch through the posterior shoulder. Bend your elbow to intensify the stretch. Draw your arm back and switch sides as we return to the prone lying chest stretch. Bring your arm from the chest stretch across your body into the prone shoulder capsule stretch. Transition into a supine lying position, and next we'll go into a lying twist. Lie back in a supine position with one leg bent. Hook your foot across your opposite knee and lay your legs to the side. Place a hand on your top knee and hold your shoulders flat to the ground. Breathe deeply as you lay here, holding the knee and drawing your opposite shoulder down to promote thoracic extension. If you're having a difficult time holding your shoulders to the ground without using an excessive amount of torque, try this modification. Place your top leg on top of a bolster so that you can comfortably breathe and open up through the twist. Now gently untwist and switch sides. Make your way out of your lying twist and take the last minute or two to reset and recenter yourself with any gentle movements, stretches, or stillness in breathing to cap off today's practice. All right, my friends, that is going to bring today's stretch session to a close. I hope you leave this practice feeling calm and relaxed in body and mind. Thank you for taking time out of your day to come move with me and to do something good for your body, something to balance out the stress and the hard training that inevitably accumulates. That's it for this practice, but I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay connected, and keep on moving.